Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod, here to talk about Survivor Season 50, Episode 12, titled Inconceivable. Last week on Survivor, a twist split the tribe in two again, and in the end, Siri used her extra vote to take out bad secret keeper Emily, and America was somehow shocked when Ozzy did the most Ozzy thing he could do when he was voted out with an idol in his pocket. Before I dive in, links below to my playlist to catch up on my previous recaps. If you like the video, consider liking, subscribing, and using my link to try Paramount Plus for free. But let's dive into it. Players return to camp. First, the group that voted Emily. Suri is annoyed with Devons for voting for her. Devons has no idol now, so his plan is to find another one or win immunity. The other group that voted Ozzy returns. Rizzo tells Suri that Ozzy was spilling all of Suri's tea to the other group. Rizzo hopes this will bring Suri in closer, and it seems to do so. Suri is very annoyed with Ozzy for blowing up her game and calls him an idiot. Jonathan is feeling himself after taking out Ozzy, but Aubrey tells us she's taking the credit for organizing the Ozzy boot, and Aubrey tells us she wants to right her wrongs from Korong. She's now ready to vote out all the threats on her way to the end. Sorry for anyone who cares what Joe thinks, because the editors did not, and neither did I. The next day, Devons gets up early and starts hunting for idols, but Jonathan becomes Devons' tail for the day, following him around camp and blocking his sunlight. Devons gets emotional to Joe, telling Joe he wants to stay positive and keep having fun, and telling us he feels like a pariah that needs to win immunity. So players head to their immunity challenge, where, sorry Jonathan, that thing's back up for grabs. Players will use their rope to balance their wobbly table to spell the word immunity. The first player to finish wins immunity and reward of ribs, beans, beer, coleslaw, and potato salad. That's a good meal if you want to be a fart factory. Players get started. This is my least favorite challenge to watch. And recap, they stack them, they drop. Who's excited for Big Brother July 9th? I'm ready for Julie Chen to fumble through her lines a 28th time. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Back in Fiji, Joe moves at tortoise pace. He's really good at this. He's lucky the challenge wasn't getting a confessional, so Slow Joe wins immunity, and a spot in the final six ends the Bubble Guts barbecue beef and beans. Joe picks Suri and Rizzo to join him on reward, telling the group he wants to take players who haven't got rewards. In this moment, I need the producers to put an immunity idol in Suri's beans. So Sarizard of Joe head to their reward, where Suri proposes. They take the quick and easy shot at Devons. Rizzo tells us the man, the myth, the legend, Rizgod, might get to save his idol for one more night. Back at camp, Jonathan is hungry and impatient. He eats dry rice. He's annoyed that Joe picked Rizzo for the reward when Rizzo just had two big chicken breasts at the auction. And Tiffany is annoyed that Rizzo still has his idol. She proposes to Devons. They get Rizzo and his idol out of the game. Devons brings this back to Aubrey, who's down, but is also considering taking Rizzo to the end because the other players find Rizzo annoying and won't give him the money. Tiffany also approaches Jonathan, who brings the plan to Suri, but first they fall off the hammock. Jonathan and Tiff fill Suri in, but Suri does not want this plan against Rizzo to happen. She wants to help Rizzo if she can. So they head to Tribal, where talk is about Joe's reward decision and the other players being annoyed about Rizzo having juicy chicken breasts. Chicken breasts. I need to be more mature. Devons feels he's obviously going home. Rizzo says it may not be so simple, and he doesn't want to be Boo Boo the Fool. Devons reflects on his journey and connecting with the stars in Fiji. They do get to voting, as Devons looks to the stars, like, please, stars, send me an idol. When asked for advantages, Devons plays his shot in the dark, and he's not safe and won't have a vote. So Jeff reads the votes, and it's unanimous, 6 votes in that thing for Devons. So we lose Devons here, who was itching to come back for so long. You can see from the way he plays that he wanted to make the most of the opportunity that he's been waiting for. It would have been a bit more exciting if the idols he was looking for were there, but he made the fake idol, which caused a big ruckus, but ultimately went nowhere. The highlight of his game, flipping the Mr. Beast coin, which doubled the money, gave him an idol he used right away, ended up being not as influential on the game as I thought it would be. I wasn't a big fan of his antics on his season, and still feel he's more focused on making big flashy moves and making TV than winning the show, but as a TV viewer, I can appreciate the drama, and can see he had a lot of fun, just like his wife told him to. He's not a bad player if he gets to the end. The things he does would help him win, but the things he does also make him get voted out. I don't think this is the last we've seen of him on Survivor. The untrained viewer may have turned off their TV, but we're only halfway through the episode. The next day, Tiffany I told you so is everyone about Rizzo and his idol. She's still on Rizzo's ass about that immunity idol, as if they let Rizzo keep the idol, he'll be able to use it to get to Final Four. Tiffany's campaigning is making Aubrey realize that Tiffany is a big threat in the game that reminds her of Michelle from her season, and that Tiffany has got to go. Jonathan spills to Rizzo that Tiffany is coming for him, but Rizzo warns Siri that her ally Tiffany is in danger. He's Rizzo the rat. Players head to their immunity challenge, where, sorry Joe, that thing is back up for grabs. Players will go through an obstacle course, including a net teeter-totter, and balancing letter blocks on the Debbie Weiner balance beam, solving an arched word puzzle. The first player to complete this will win immunity. They get started. This teeter-totter looks vicious. Jonathan and Joe get to the puzzle first. They can tell the word is inconceivable, but somehow don't know how to spell it, and oop, they said the thing. Players conspire against Tiffany, working together to beat her in the challenge. Jonathan and Joe really can't spell. Joe spells Inconceivable. Open the schools. Tiffany figures this out and wins immunity in an arched word puzzle that was rough for her tribe on her season. Jeff acknowledges to Tiff that everyone was working together against her and she still won. Back at camp, whoa mama, that shark's been eating good. Aubrey is annoyed that she focused on other people's puzzles, not her own. Rizzo tells Aubrey he's playing his idol, so now Aubrey's convinced it's Siri that needs to go home. The first person she tells is Rizzo, who loves Siri and would be heartbroken to blindside her, but he knows he would lose against her. Siri is feeling the pressure. She can tell she's in trouble and wants to turn the attention on Aubrey, telling Tiffany that she would have been voted out had she not won immunity. Siri's plan is to get Jonathan to turn against Aubrey, so she lies and tells Jonathan that Aubrey has been leaking information to Siri, even though it's really been Rizzo. Jonathan is considering it. Joe rats Siri's plan to Aubrey. Joe and Aubrey agree that Siri is trying to manipulate them. Rizzo knows that Siri is lying and needs the guys to work with him to take Siri out, so players head to Tribal, where Ozzy rolls his eyes at Jonathan, saying he's surprised to still be there. Talk is about the information spreading around camp. This Tribal is tense. Jeff addresses that Aubrey and Siri have both gotten to the end multiple times and fallen short, but this conversation really goes nowhere, and players head to the vote. When asked for advantages, Rizzo once again doesn't play his idol. In the end, there's 2 votes in that thing for Aubrey from Siri and Tiffany, and 4 for Siri from everyone else. Siri gives a grateful goodbye and thank you to Jeff for the opportunity, and they hug it out, which was sweet, but this was devastating. So we lose Siri, who I was worried about coming into the season, because while the other players like and respect her, a lot more than I expected came into the season acknowledging Siri could not get to the end. She's got Jenna quickly coming for her in the premiere, but she comes out on top on that vote and gets to a place where she knows where all the advantages are and is in the Wizard of Oz, getting her way throughout, casting votes for the eliminated player at every tribal she went to besides this one. She gets to the merge and is voting out players from different alliances. I would say the Steph vote is where Siri's game goes kind of off the rails. Siri could have worked Steph a little bit more and maybe would have needed some help from Steph. Losing Ozzy was a hit, losing the extra vote. Coming into this episode, I was very worried for Siri. Maybe she can find some peace in knowing she wasn't taken out of the game in a random way where she was robbed. She was voted out fair and square by majority vote and did everything she could. She would have won if she hadn't lost. And I'll say, in what was maybe the last episode of Siri on Survivor, this did not feel like the celebration of Siri Fields that she or we deserved. I wanted them to give her flowers in a meaningful way. They did not. So that's why we have to give Siri her reward by going on the Sia fan vote and voting to give her the $100,000. Comment Team Siri if you're with me. So we're headed to the finale with a final 5 that's a nightmare blunt rotation. So let's talk about the final 5 in order of what I feel is their chance of winning, starting with Joe. Why is Joe there? What a boring game he plays. We don't ever get his point of view on strategy. His moves are confusing. It seems like he's not playing, but then we see him randomly in game conversations. We didn't even get a celebratory confessional from him when he got his rival Devons out. I'm very confident he'll be in the final 3, but have no belief that he can win a jury vote. Next, Rizzo, who will use his idol. He will make the final 4, but Aubrey said this episode, the jury thinks he's annoying and won't give him the money. The only 2 players who really know his game are Siri and Ozzy, who, yes, he was working with, but I'm not sure if they'll stand up for him or vote for him at this point. He's played impressively with idols, but I don't think he's done anything that noteworthy to swing a jury. Next, I'd say Tiffany, who's the person I'm rooting for coming into the finale, and if she makes it to the end, I think she could get the votes to sell herself, but she was just ganged up on by the group, except Siri in that immunity challenge. And now Suri's gone. She needs to win 2 immunity challenges in a row to get to the end, which is just highly unlikely. Jonathan has been making moves in the game. I actually think he's played the best game of the 5. He's led some of the last few votes and has proven to have strategic thinking, but he's about to get either voted out by Aubrey last minute or get clowned on by Aubrey at Final Tribal when she claims all of his moves are hers, and people on the jury may just not like him. Finally, it's feeling kind of obvious to me that Aubrey is the winner of this show. It's the way the show's been and trying to make us understand what she's doing. It's the way she's claiming other people's moves are her own, and she's getting them to do her dirty work. It's the way she spent this whole episode telling us she's handpicking her final three and getting her redemption from her season. So I'll be shocked if the finale doesn't end with her winning, and I wouldn't mind it that much. I just hope some exciting stuff happens on the way to being there, and I do hope she clowns on Joe and Jonathan and makes them look more like dummies than they already do. That would be how she gets my stan card. But that's where we're at. Let me know in the comments, what did you think about this episode, Devons and Siri's departures, and what are your predictions coming into the finale? If you liked the video, consider liking and subscribing. You can also follow me on Instagram to keep up with me and my dog at Chenzitagram and ask me questions I could answer on the channel. I'll be back next week to talk about the finale and live reunion. Until next time, you know where to find me. Bye.